Barely 3 weeks into living in my vehicle, I ended up helping with Hurricane Helene relief. It impacted 6,000 miles of roads, 1,000 bridges and culverts, and 160 water and sewer systems, according to NPR. 126,000 homes and 1,400 homes totally destroyed. And I ended up working at a relief camp in Swannanoa, North Carolina.
We're working through some organized chaos. We have so many wonderful volunteers that show up every day. We have amazing people from all across the country that want to help more than anything, but it leads to organized chaos.
What is it that you do need?
Right now, we need manpower. The honeymoon period of the disaster has kind of worn off. And from what it appears to a lot of us around here and looking online, the gravity of what has happened in this area is not in any way, shape, or form being adequately reported on. And because of that, I think a lot of people think that we're kind of on the up and up. We're just cleaning up now, and we're not cleaning up now. We are working incredibly hard to make sure we have the infrastructure in place to keep this entire community from freezing to death this winter. And if we continue to have sparser and sparser volunteers willing to do the unglamorous work, it's going to be troublesome. We need to make sure we keep attention on the situation.
Well, it seems that you can't take the journalist out of me. I'm going to be staying here for a bit, sleeping in the rescue center in my car, and I think I will probably be going up the mountain tomorrow morning with the boys.
So I'm helping with fundraising, dispatch, logistics, and Hector's kind of doing the same thing.
Yes. So I'm basically like just a backup for operations, search and rescue. We're having a lot of connects with different people from around the area to be able to locate this families communities that have been stuck and lost, especially in my case, Hispanic communities, and trying to locate them and reach them and let them know that not to be afraid and that we're here to help.
What are you finding up there in the more remote areas?
So a lot of people, we're still finding people even 2 weeks after the fact, or 2.5 weeks after the fact, that, have not been reached since this started. Lots of roads still blocked off in the far remote areas, lots of places where people still can't get out of their homes. Just a few days ago, we went and, we got some intel and we went and rescued an infant that was on a feeding tube they ran out of formula, and they had no way to get down from their mountain safely with all their children, so we were able to evac them.
So we've seen anything from minor injuries with the volunteers, people who have had chronic illnesses that weren't able to get their medications, big need for insulin due to mass power outages. And I came down here initially just unloading trucks, and then started trying to use my skills as a paramedic to help some of the operations and groundwork and recon and stuff like that for medical needs.
Bird, it's a lot of trauma. How is the team holding up?
The team is holding up well. We're trying to get everyone to take breaks. You really get sucked in up here and you feel the need to be here all day, every day. And so we've had to send team members home, like force them to take a day off and come back. And it's hard because when you're home, you just want to be right here, kind of what's going on and the need. So just trying to have everyone take care of each other. We're giving our coworkers IVs from time to time, just to keep people hydrated and, make sure they're taking care of themselves before they try to take care of others.
And Arthur, what impact is the cold going to have on the people who are still up there, the victims?
That's one of the big pushes that we've had, is to make sure that we can get the community winterized, get them proper cold sleeping bags, heaters, trying to get donations for carbon monoxide detectors and stuff like that. But that has been our big push. We've had a couple of really, really cold nights, and so we're trying to prevent those type of injuries from occurring. And we're going to have a couple of days where it's going to be warm again, but then it's going to drop back down.
I heard one of, it was Hannah yesterday who said to me, this might be up to 6 months. How do you sustain that, Bird, over the long term, the help that is being provided now?
We're hoping to get some of the urgent cares that we're providing care in this area up and running again, as well as the hospital system. Right now we're trying to, provide relief to those healthcare workers who have to take care of their families. But hopefully more and more can open up as the area gets access to water.
With that, we have a mobile hospital that's coming in this weekend, setting up through an NGO called Hillcorp. That will be one of the first doctors will be here today that we'll meet with, and they'll be here from anywhere from 30 to 120 days, which will be able to staff volunteer RNs, physicians, and other medical providers.
We're here to get them back to normal, all right? So just because it doesn't seem like an emergency doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be done.
Line up every divine appointment. Father, we all came here with the same heartless posture, same needs. I pray that everybody, because we have a health clinic trailer that is coming to be set up, so that way members of the community can come and get screenings. They can come up here for any kind of health-related issues, any kind of chest issues. Everything will be facilitated, and it's going to be parked right underneath this antique sign, right against that wall. We need to move at least 2 of these porta potties, relocate them somewhere else.
Good morning from a very cold site near Asheville, North Carolina. I do have an update on what happened last night, but you can still see how cold it is here. So what we know is that the team that went up is still up there and is now expected to be up there for as long as 5 days. What they found was that the road to get to the suspected disaster site was so littered with trees and debris that what they're basically spending today doing is cutting and removing the trees from the road. They do have still the EMT up there. They still have 2 state troopers up there. And now the task becomes getting provisions from this camp to that camp, because they had no idea that they were going to be up there potentially as long as they're going to be, in order to clear the road to get to potential victims. So one of those provision trips, which is probably about an hour and a half, will be retrieving my GoPro so that I can show what the challenges are up there. Right now, the weather is predicted to get better, but it is, let's see, by Ottawa standards, it was 2 degrees now and the sun is up. So cold is one of the biggest challenges. And I just came back into the car because Buddy is sleeping under the blankets. It's still a little too cold. He came to the morning meeting, but then he started to shiver. There's a couple other dogs here too that he wants to run and play with, so he was being a bit of a distraction. But that's the update on today, and as soon as I learn more, I will update it.
I would already get myself started already.
Okay, Chaplain, what does your community need?
So we are we've set up here. Our church is set up here. We're a long ways from here, but we've set up here to kind of help help this community build back. One of the main things we need right now is funding to help us put people in tiny homes and or campers. The infrastructure is very fluid right now. The government's not really sure how to proceed with a lot of this. The campers are going to be a more immediate need because it's going to help us. We don't have to have the red tape and all the permits and all that to do as we would with the tiny homes. So that's an immediate need, but we've got to also come up with a long-term need in regards to these tiny homes, but also a more permanent solution for these families.
I was talking to a lady this morning who was out working, and she said that the loss of life is going to be much higher than has been found yet up there. How prepared is everybody to deal with that loss of life?
Well, so from a first responder chaplain standpoint, these guys are emotionally drained from the recovery, from the rescue and recovery, or the recovery standpoint. We've already recovered a lot of lives that were lost, mostly because of the storm. But now after the fact, we have had several that have lost their lives due to the weather, due to situations they have found themselves in after the storm. And they're like with our Hispanic community, there's a lot of them that we have found that are heating with charcoal in their house, which is not good. Carbon monoxide poisoning for whole families, weather related in regards to hypothermia. We've come across several people that can't regulate their body temperature. So that makes it very dangerous for them. We've gotten generators for most of those that we know about. But as it gets colder into the winter, and these families the longer they're staying in tents and their cars, that number is gonna rise because people are gonna take drastic measures to try to heat. Even with a kerosene heater, getting close to a curtain, houses go up in flames. And so I'm afraid if we don't educate and do something quickly to get these families out of these very extreme situations, we're going to continue to see the number of lives lost rise, indirectly related to this storm.
Yes.
How does that work?
So I am the administrator, host, however you want to call it, for the Canadians living in Charlotte. And I'm also very close with other administrators of Canadians groups throughout the US. And so you put the word out and you ask for help. And they are so awesome because even though they're from Canada, they want to be able to help whatever way they can.
So, Mike, you took me on the most amazing trip of your work, which we will cover in another video. And Buddy loves both of you, but
We love
when
Buddy.
you came up here and you saw what is happening, the traffic, the road closures, I know that you both sent me photos of the damage. This is now your home, North Carolina.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel?
Well, when Rose and I were dating, you know, we'd stop on these little mountain towns on the way up to Asheville because Asheville reminded us a lot of home. You know, I'm from Ottawa and Rose from Montreal, and yeah, when I took Rose into, I think it was Old Fort, I said, Rose, this is this mountain stream we got down, and
The first time I visited you,
yeah,
you brought me there.
and it's all gone. It's just, it was probably under 30 feet of water, and these huge loaders. Like we had a quick glimpse of it leaving Wednesday when we first came up, and yeah, it's just hard to comprehend. And then we were up in Asheville. We used to always go to the Biltmore estate when we were dating, and then after we got married, and to see that grand entrance with a watermark still on it. We came through today again.
Yeah.
And
hard not to cry.
Yeah, and
Very
Biltmore
emotional.
Village, just devastating. It's just, videos are one thing, but to see it in person, it's hard to comprehend.
To be there and to be here feels like it's one extreme to the other. The sadness and the emotion of going through these towns where we went on Wednesday and today, to working with the people that are here. It's like the sadness to the uplifting. It's such a pull on emotions to do all of that all at once, like emotional.
What is it?
Sure. My name is Ruth Clark, and I would say I am a multi-purpose tool in this operation of volunteering here in West North Carolina, but basically I'm just a volunteer.
But you actually plan to go up to where these guys are right now, fighting through to get to some people that might be in grave danger. So how are you a regular volunteer if that's the case?
I think it goes back to being that multi-purpose tool volunteer. If I am needed somewhere and I have the ability to go, I go. A lot of what I've been doing has been really resource gathering for this team. When Steven says my team is cold, or we are trying to get to some people and they need X, Y, and Z, my role has really been to try and connect the dots for them, get them those resources. I know that Steven and his team are trying to set up another base camp to deal with this emergency. They are unexpectedly going to be away for about a week, and they could use ham radios, for example. And those ham radios that I brought up thinking that we're going to one place, now because of this emergency of recovery, we're bringing them up right up to the mountain instead of delivering them elsewhere.
How did you connect with Canadians?
Well, I would like to also mention that I have some roots in Montreal, but I connected with this wonderful Canadian group because we all showed up in a Walmart parking lot with Operation Airdrop, just looking to pitch in where we could. My first day there, I was running around to different stores looking for cardboard boxes because we needed boxes to send supplies up. And within a day, that my role changed a lot, and it's been 2.5 weeks, and things change every day, needs change every day. I will say that is one thing I have been most surprised about as someone who's never worked in disaster relief efforts before in this kind of way, how quickly needs change and shift. So from gathering boxes on day one to finding funding for things like ham radios and getting really involved with this SAR team. Every day is different, and every need that they have changes very quickly.
There's a lot of frustration up here that they feel that they haven't been heard. What would your response be to that?
I'm sorry, I get a little emotional. That is really hard for me to understand. why the word is not getting out. I feel like there is a lot of damage here. There's a lot that people have not seen, and I'm not sure I understand exactly why the story isn't getting told out there. I have family all over the country who seem surprised when I share what I'm hearing from people who are boots on the ground. And one of my concerns is that this area is going to be forgotten and very quickly, and won't get the resources that they need. And this is not to say anything about government help or anything. Everyone is here. FEMA is here, military is here, militias are here, churches are here, temples are here, everyone is here. It is just so big, and the story is not getting told of just how big it is and how much tragedy is really out here. And these volunteers, one of the things I will say is, if you can donate some time, these volunteers are some of the toughest people I've ever met, and they are needing breaks. They are seeing things that are really hard to process. I'm trying to get therapy dogs in, things like at that level, just because this is at a scale that people are telling me this is probably one of the worst natural disasters that our country has either ever seen, or at least in our lifetimes has ever seen. And they need help here, and they are doing an amazing job bringing all sorts of people together in this effort. But we need more attention, more feet on the ground, more money, really anything.
So just my last question, you're about to go up a road that these guys here are trying to clear in order to get to two things we know, potentially 10 families and potentially a landslide. Are you prepared for that?
No, and I'm not prepared in any way for that. And I will wait to tell my husband and my mom that's what I'm about to do. I don't think that they would be prepared for me to go. But again, multi-purpose tool of a volunteer.
After a week, we said goodbye. Good luck to North Carolina.